This is Pre-Algebra lesson 3.2, estimating decimal products and quotients. Okay, so here's the deal. How long should it take you to estimate anything?
2 seconds.
2 seconds, for real, right? I mean, 5 seconds at the very most, but I mean, really, 2 seconds. When you're multiplying or dividing, it is, here, I have a question. What if I gave you this? What if it was, if I gave you this question, 12.498, and I just want you to divide that by 2.95. Answering that question is going to take you a while, right? I mean, it just is. Right? I mean, you know how you do that, right? So it would be 12.498 divided by 2.95, and then you got to move the decimal over twice, and move the decimal over twice, and then you could see this would take you 5 minutes to do this question, and that would be, it would be rounded. It would just be it's not going to come out even. It's going to be a mess, right? All paying attention here, right? It's going to be a mess. Here's the thing about it, though, is that so once you've done this big problem and you've taken 5 minutes to work on this, you are not going to want to have to redo that. And so whatever you do, you want to make your estimation of this simple, right? Let's just say I did the big problem there, and I came out to my answer was 4.0982. Let's just say that was my estimate. No, sorry, that was my real answer, okay? What you're going to want to do is this. When you estimate in your head, because estimation should happen where? In your head, right? If you have to write down a problem and do a long problem, well then, are you really going to do that? Are you actually going to once you've come up with this answer here, you've spent 5 minutes on this, now are you going to want to redo the problem and have to do more work to figure out if that's right? Answer me. Are you going to want to do that? No, you're not. What you're going to want to do is just take 2 seconds and estimate and go, is my answer here possibly correct? Is it likely correct? Yes. So what I'm going to do is this. You are going to use what is called compatible numbers. Compatible numbers means numbers that jive, numbers that work together well. In this situation, I have a 12.498. I could estimate that. Would it be absurd of me to turn that number into a 10? Would that be absurd? Yes. Is that too far away to turn that into a 10? To round that to a 10? I would say no. I don't think that's absurd. That would not be too far for me to just do a quick little estimation, okay? Which means that I've got a 2.95. I could go, okay, that's pretty close to a 3. The problem is that what's 10 divided by 3? Is that easy? Is that something you can just do really quick? Nope, that's not easy, right? Those two numbers aren't compatible, right? 10 divided by 3 is not compatible. That's going to still leave me with a decimal. That's going to leave me with a fraction. That's going to that's not easy. So I'm going to want to choose these numbers here to be numbers that are compatible with each other so that I can do this very quickly. What numbers, this and this, would work together, would jive, Lauren?
12 and 3.
12 and 3. That's pretty close to 12. 2.95 is pretty close to 3. What's 12 divided by 3? 4. Is 4 pretty close to 4.0982? Yes. Does that make sense? And so that's the whole thing, is that you want to use numbers, even if they can't be too far away, but you want to use numbers that are near the number that works with the other number. Let's look at this one here. Whatever makes things fast and easy. What if I have 8.041, and I'm going to multiply that by 12.96. Could you, if I said, okay, this is your quiz, could you give me the real answer for this? Do you all know how to multiply 8.041 times 12.96? Actually stacking them up and do it. Could you all do that? Yes. And so, but how long would that take you to do? For real? Probably like 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, it would take a while to do that problem. Right? Right? You're drifting. It would take you a while to do that problem. But once you get it done, if I make you do it, you're going to want to get it right. Agreed? You're not going to want to spend 3, 4, 5 minutes on something and not get it right. So then let's just say that I came up with well, let's not even say what I come up with. What should this be close to? Well, let's talk about this. First of all, that number there, would it be absurd for me to round that to 13?
No.
That would not be absurd, right? So we could say 13, and you go, that's obviously 8. Does anybody know what 8 times 13 is off the top of their head? I don't. I don't know what it is. I really don't. It's not easy. We don't have that in our head. You know what I'm talking about? We don't have that in our head. We don't know that. So then, do I want to actually spend the time going 13 times 8? And no. Is that 2 seconds if you have to do that?
No.
No, it's not 2 seconds if you have to do that. So then what you might decide to do here is this. A couple of things you can do. One, what could I make these numbers so that they jive, so that they work together? Things that will be quick and easy for you. If you know your multiplication tables, what could you do to make this quick and easy, Sheena? 8 times 12. You should all know your 12s, right? You should all know your 12s. Agreed? 8 times 12 is 96. What else could you do to make this jive? What else could you do? 8 times 11. Another one. 11s are really easy, right? 11s are really easy. 8 times 11 is 88. That would work. What else could you do? I would even allow this. 8 times 10, maybe. That's probably a little far, but what about this? What is 8 pretty close to?
9.
Or 10.
Oh.
And what is 12.96 pretty close to? 10. What's 10 times 10? 100. Does that make sense? And so that's all legit. All we're doing here is are we actually getting an answer here, the right answer? No. What are we doing this for? We're doing this to make sure that when we spent that 5 minutes doing this problem, that we want to just take 2 seconds to look and go, does that make sense? What if my answer came out to be, what if after I did 8.041 times 12.96, I came up with the answer that was 10.2596. That's my answer. Some of you who are just working and you're just brainlessly doing this might put this down and go, that's my answer. And is that correct?
No.
And it should take you 2 seconds to look at these numbers here and realize that I did something wrong. In fact, all I probably did was put the decimal in the wrong place. But I wouldn't know that unless I took the 2 seconds to do what? To estimate, right? To estimate whatever it is. I can look at this, and however you do it, you go 8 times 12 is 96. If that's all of a sudden go, wait a second, 96 isn't anywhere near 10. Right? And so now that you've done that, you go, oh man, now I need to go back and redo this. Right?
Really?
But if I came up with my answer, and my answer came out to 102.957 or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like if that was my answer, 956, and I said, okay, 8 times 12 is 96, okay, those are in the ballpark of each other. Does that make sense? Or even if you chose 10 times 10, is 100 near 102? Yes. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All you're doing, listen, and that's why if I could teach you one thing to be good at, it would be estimating. Because it's something that you should do. When you're doing your homework page, you should estimate about 100 times. Every time you do anything, anytime you do anything on your paper, any answer you get, take the 2 seconds to estimate what you did and go, okay, that's it, and then you got it. That way you can be in the ballpark. If you don't do that, then you are a blind mouse. Then you're a blind mouse because, like I said, I get this all the time where people do this, and they just blindly put that down. They work it out and they get it and they write that as their answer. And wait a second, if you would have taken how long?
2 seconds.
2 seconds to look at that, you would have realized you got it wrong. Does that make sense? So you want to use compatible numbers to make it so that estimating is quick and easy. If it's not quick and easy, you won't do it, and I don't blame you for not doing it. I wouldn't want to do the same problem twice. So you just quickly, bang, bang, oh, there it is. I'm either right or I'm wrong. Make sense? That's really it, people. I mean, there's nothing else really to do. You don't want to go too far away. Like I wouldn't turn like 14.65 into 10. That's too far. Does that make sense? But you could turn that into whatever. You could turn it into 12 or 13 or 15, 16, right? What if it was this? 14.65 divided by 3.7. What could you do here? What numbers could you make that are compatible?
You could do 4 and 16.
You could do 4 and 16, no problem. What else could you do? What else could you do that would make this stuff compatible?
4 and 12.
4 and 12, totally acceptable. What else could you do that would make this compatible, Jack?
You could do 12 and 3.
You could do 12 and 3, whatever, right? Sheena? You could do 15 and 3. I don't care. How long should it take you to estimate?
2 seconds.
2 seconds. If it takes you longer than that, are you going to do it? No. How many times on your paper, when you do a math paper, how many times should you be estimating?
100.
100. It says whatever. You should be constantly estimating, right? Constantly. All right, let's take a quick little quiz. Let's see if you guys got this. You guys can get started, right? If you've spent 3 minutes doing number 1 and 3 minutes doing number 2 and 3 minutes doing number 3, you want to make sure that when you are checking this, that it's simple. You're not going to want to make the estimation difficult. You won't do it, right? So anyway, number 1. What did you choose? Jack, what did you choose? You chose the answer 3. Tell me the compatible numbers you used.
I did 15 divided by 5.
15 divided by 5, the answer would be 3. That is absolutely appropriate. Did somebody choose something different? What did you choose? You chose the answer 4. So what did you do? What was your numbers, compatible numbers? 16 divided by 4. Absolutely appropriate. No problem. What else? Anybody come up with something else? Good. Number 2. 103.4 times 2.84. What'd you come up with?
100 times 3.
100 times 3. What was your answer?
300.
300. Absolutely appropriate. What else? Sheena, what'd you get? All right, that's true. That won't help. If you divided here, you had a problem. So what did you put then? 50. You did 100 divided by 2. Okay. What else?
100 times 2.
Okay, that's fine. That's a little bit tough. That being a 2, that's a little bit too far away, but I get it, and that's fine. You know, I mean, if you have the decimal in the wrong place, you will know it by your estimation there. Does that make sense? Okay, Sheena, what else? Not Sheena, Kyla, what else?
I did 102 times divided by 2 by accident, so I got 51.
Okay, yeah, listen, that's important, right? You got to pay attention to that. Nothing I can do to help you there. You got to pay attention to the sign. Okay, number 3, that's ugly, right? Well, I don't think I would ever make you do that. Right? But whatever, I put these big long numbers up there to show you that it doesn't matter, right? You should still be able to very quickly come up with compatible numbers. Give me, what did you put?
81 divided by 9.
81 divided by 9. Excellent. The answer is
9.
9, right? Your answer should be somewhere near 9. What else? What did you choose?
I chose 9, but you could do 80 divided by 10.
Absolutely. 80 divided by 10, your answer would be
8.
8, right? There's no right or wrong here. The whole point, what's the point of estimating again?
To check your work.
Right, to check your work, to be in the ballpark. Just so that when you've spent the time to do the work, 2 seconds you should be able to spend to look at it and go, my answer is close, and so you can move on. If you come up, if the answer you got was 56 and you wrote down 7 and your estimation was 7, you've got a problem, right? And that's when you know you got to go back and fix it. Make sense? Okay. I'll give you guys your homework. $130 something, right? Okay. Page 134 to 135, 1 through 30, even. Everybody looking at that right now, making sure that there's nothing on those 15 questions that you can't do.